Welcome back to Action Jack-Offs, the show where we talk about the very best and favorite action movies of all time. Please ignore the fact that I have the camera on this time around. It is just
Don't
something
ignore it.
we can't deal with it. We
Look
have
at
no
it.
choice. Don't look
Look
at
at
me. Don't perceive me.
it. Be
Um,
perceived.
but it was the only way I could get my audio to come on at the same time. So we just have to deal with it. Anyway,
Still benevolent voice.
my nice, smooth, soft voice. You're
There
gonna,
we go.
you're gonna love it.
What are we
Anyway.
here to talk about today?
Today we're going to be talking about arguably one of the very best action movies ever made. Uh, Most definitely one of the best action movie sequels ever
Yes.
made. We're talking about Terminator 2 Judgment Day by the man himself, the person who I think has been on, who we've covered on this show multiple times at this point now, James Cameron,
Jamesy boy.
Jamesy Boy, back at it again with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And yeah, we're back at it, Terminator 2. And we're just gonna kind of jump in with our first thoughts, impressions. When was the first
Sure.
time you watched Terminator 2? What was your initial reaction?
I had to be like 11 or 12. I've told the story a few times where eventually Predator and Terminator 2 and Terminator 3 and Alien were just on TV, or we were getting them from Blockbuster
Mm-hmm.
all around the same time. Watched them a whole bunch. I remember I was just terrified of Terminator 2. I thought the T-1000 was the scariest thing ever. Look at that big old yawn you got.
Thank
It's
you.
so nice to see it. It's so nice to see you now. But I just think it's so fun that now it's come full circle. And our first episode was Terminator, and now we're getting towards the end, and we got Terminator 2 on the horizon. We're here, baby.
That's true. Our first episode was Terminator. Forgot all about that.
We're back.
Oops, I made that way too small. Oops.
Yeah, you did.
Sorry, if you see me experimenting with the video, don't even pay attention to it. So just don't worry about that.
That's all I'm paying attention to.
It's fine.
I love you. You
Anyway,
got
my first time I ever saw Terminator 2. It was a very long time ago, I'm sure. But I definitely saw it on TV before. I think I saw it with my dad at one point or another. I come to realize that the longer this show goes on, that the more I see things with my dad more than anything. And Terminator 2 was just on. I think, I can't even remember. It's one of those things where like I was too young when I first saw the first Terminator, because you would just kind of like, your parents would be watching it and then you'd walk in while you were supposed to be in bed, and you'd like walk in and like hide in the corner without them noticing you were there, and you just kind of like watch them watch TV. So you're catching
Oh yeah.
glimpses of things that are on TV that you're not supposed to see yet. So you end up with just glimpses and memories of things that you're not supposed to be seeing yet. And that's how the first Terminator was for me. And in Terminator 2, I think I was old enough to at least watch some of it, and I think that is because the second Terminator 2 is much more mainstream than the first Terminator. And I think that's because John Connor is in it as a kid. And in my parents' minds, they're like, oh, there's a kid here. So that means other kids can watch it. It's not 100% rated R. Whereas in the first
Very.
movie, there's like people doing drugs, there's like tits out, all that kind of stuff.
It's
It's a
got more horror elements.
it's a lot more grimy. Um, it could be a little intense for kids to watch. And then
There's like
Terminator
a
2,
sex scene.
yeah. And with Terminator 2, there's more of a, this is for everybody that can watch this kind of movie, which um, kind of leads me into the next question of, how do you think T2 holds up for someone watching it for the first time today?
I think because of the mix of practical and visual effects that it actually is pretty awesome. There's probably like one scene where I was just like, ah.
What's that one
Uh,
scene?
I think it's whenever he's fully metal and he's like in the helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, that does look a little clay now.
Yeah, yeah. But that whole helicopter scene in and of itself
But yeah,
is done really
but the
well.
helicopter is awesome because
Yeah,
they're just, oh, it's a real helicopter flying really low.
yeah,
That's awesome. You don't see that anymore.
yeah. Do you feel like so? I think one of the things that works for this movie is that it does have, like I said, it does have mainstream appeal. It has
It's four
Arnold.
quadrant hit.
Yeah, it has Arnold. Um, it's got a kid in it that kids can kind of see themselves in that role as, and it's just got really good action sequences, and it's funny. It's a lot more funny than the first Terminator, and I think that humor kind of goes a long way because it's kind of like I hate to compare it to something like a Marvel movie because I think this is just so much better than like a lot of those movies, but it's got all the things that kind of make something like those movies stand out. It's got the power trip or the power fantasy. It's got, this kid who has basically a giant robot at his disposal, uh, fancy killer robot at his disposal, does whatever he says. You've got the cool Arnold Schwarzenegger, big celebrity, action guy, doing all kinds of cool action stunts. Action scenes are awesome. And then, of course, you've got the funny elements of it. And then, of course, at the center of it, you've got like this really like heartfelt mother son dichotomy. There's kind of like a blooming family element to it where Arnold is kind of like the father. The Terminator is basically the father that John Connor never had. Sarah Connor has to try and somehow recapture the, give back the childhood that she kind of took from John. Has to learn how to be a mom again that she never really got to be because she was so focused on all this other stuff. I think there's a lot going for this movie that makes it to where people nowadays would enjoy watching it. What I
It's
think,
actually layered,
yes, what I think doesn't work for it. What I think the only thing holding it back is that it's a sequel.
but it's all of the original ideas that he wanted to be in one, but didn't have the money or the power to do so.
Right. But with the fact that it's a sequel though, it's like you can't just watch Terminator 2 and get the movie. I feel like that's a pretty big element you're missing because, you know, one of the things that is unique about this movie that, well, I guess now is not unique because it became the central focus of like all the remaining movies in the franchise is that the Terminator T-800 that Arnold plays in this movie is actually the good guy, whereas in the
A big
first
choice,
movie he was the bad guy. And
which was lost on me for a long time because I'm almost positive that I saw the second one first, most likely, or that I might have seen the first one first, but it never was like a big twist that Arnold was the good guy in this one to me. But I'm sure audiences at the time were like, "Oh my god!"
yeah, like it really like blows your mind because he does. Because at first you're kind of like, and the way I view it is, the guy playing the T-1000 is initially, I think, is set up to where you're like, oh, he's supposed to be like a good guy or something like that because we already associate Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator as the bad guy. So when the T-1000 shows up and he kind of takes on the persona of a cop who generally are considered good guys in most movies, especially from the 90s, um, you kind of have this initial reaction of, okay, I'm not really sure who's the good guy, who's the bad guy here, but I'm almost positive the T-800 is the bad guy. And of course, you get into the latter half of the movie, and it turns out he's actually saving John Connor from the T-1000, and so on and so forth. And now we have a movie on our hands here.
Now we're off to the races. Now we're cooking gas.
Now we're cooking with gas. Now we've got something going on here. So I think that's really, um, fascinating, to me. And I think that's something that people at the time were like, wow, that's really cool. It's funny because nowadays it's I think nowadays it's funny to think that Arnold Schwarzenegger was ever the bad guy in one of these movies because in every Terminator movie since then he's been the good guy.
He's all about saving John Connor after the first one.
Yeah, I think in some of the more modern movies, there's like some elements where he plays a bad guy, or like a T-800 is a bad guy, because the T-800s are all bad guys essentially. It's just that this one in Terminator 2 just so happens to have been reprogrammed uh, by future John Connor, if I remember correctly, uh, to be a good guy. So it works out.
Works out.
It works out. It all buffs out. Anyway, the film deals heavily with fate versus free will. Do you think the movie ultimately argues that the future can be changed? Ignoring Terminator 3. Like, imagine Terminator 3 never happened. You just had this movie and the first movie to kind of work off of. Can the future be changed?
No,
No.
it's all inevitable.
It was all always going to happen.
Because I think even with the future movies and this one, the whole point is that it's all like everything that's happened is going to happen, and that's like the time travel only proves that you can't change the future or the past.
Like, because of the fact that there's a Terminator existing in modern times.
Exactly.
Well, wasn't
It's
that
like a self-fulfilling prophecy more than anything.
now? Hold on, I will argue against this
Uh-oh.
because that was the argument that Terminator 3 brought into the mix.
Yeah.
Terminator 2 explicitly says that, well, it doesn't explicitly say that you can change the future, but it does go out of its way to make you think you can change the future, because that was the whole motivation behind doing everything that they were doing, was to stop Skynet from launching and to stop the future from happening. That's why they destroyed. Uh, that's why the T-800 destroyed itself at the end of the movie,
Yeah.
because it was like there can't be any trace of any Terminator related stuff in the past, in the present, so that way people won't discover it and then ultimately create Skynet later into the future.
No,
And
but somebody's gonna have the idea still.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, they killed the guy that came up with the idea of Skynet, or was one of the minds behind Skynet. He died in that explosion with the cops, and then destroyed the T-1000, and then destroyed the T-800, and then that was supposed to have killed off any hope that there was going to be Terminators in the future, because wasn't it that I feel like we talked about this whenever we did the first Terminator review,
Yeah.
where we were like, one of the things that led to the creation of Skynet was the fact that they found the remains of the T-800 in that factory at the end of the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what ultimately led to the invention of Skynet. But but in Terminator 2, they destroyed everything that had to do with Skynet, trying to basically say that there was no way going into a third movie that was ever going to be the case. Obviously, Terminator 3 comes around and is like, well, you can't stop Judgment Day. Judgment Day is always going to happen. And that the goal of Terminator 3 was just trying to get John Connor and his wife, girlfriend, not really girlfriend at the time, get them to a safe place, because when Judgment Day does happen, then the future will have, their front running man,
Savior.
their savior, to help kind of guide everything into the process. And of course, that's all its own thing. But Terminator 2 explicitly goes out of its way to say our goal is to stop the future. So I think what Terminator 2 is trying to say, especially with Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, that the goal was that you can change the future.
What do you think?
Makes you think.
It makes you think.
Makes you kind of scratch your head a little bit.
But that's one of the funny things about like one and two. Like one has like the picture that John Connor gave to Michael Bihn's character that then makes him fall in love with Sarah Connor, which then is the birth of John Connor. But then the next movie's like, nah, you can change everything.
Yeah.
And then the third one's like, no, never mind.
Yeah, it's so weird. That's why I
Back and
think
forth.
Terminator 3 was just a cash grab. Like they turned
Oh,
it
yeah,
into a franchise
they're
where it
all
was.
cash grabs.
Well, yeah, but I mean, at least with Terminator 2, it's trying to continue the story in some way
Oh yeah, I
that,
meant the other sequels.
yeah, all
I
the
feel
other
like really
sequels.
after the second one, they're just like money.
Yeah. How does Terminator 2 expand on the original film's ideas about technology and humanity?
I think it's just more in depth because like the first one, they're not really going except for like the factory at the end. They're not really going to like see like what causes Skynet. They didn't really have like, all the computers and the big Skynet foundation that they like crash and burn and explode at near the end of the movie in two.
Yeah,
You just don't see the depth of like, oh, it's like tech companies and stuff because they didn't really have as much of stuff like that in the 80s. But then in the 90s, they were like, oh, easier,
it's
easier
easier
to
to
explain.
portray. Yeah,
Exactly. And then like just that opening scene at the beginning really expands on like, oh, the Terminators are really messing everything up because we only got like a scene or two in the first one, and they're like really, really low budgeted
yeah. I
versus
mean,
like step on a skull, see John Connor with the scar on his face,
yeah,
war.
yeah. I mean, with the first one, we really rely a lot on uh, Kyle Reese's backstory and his recollection on things, and the one or two flashbacks we get with him to like really understand just like how dire things are in the future. Whereas Terminator 2, they let you know they have a bigger budget.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you think Sarah Connor's transformation from the first movie to the second makes her a more compelling character, or that she appropriately developed between the two
Uh,
movies?
I think it's a realistic depiction of what would happen if a killer robot came and got you when you were like 18.
Yeah.
What the next 10 years of your life would be like would probably be like I locked in an insane asylum doing pull-ups. Like that makes sense.
Training your son to be like a all American Boy Scout survivalist who can do all kinds of
Like you're gonna be
shit.
able you're gonna be able to hack ATMs and wear Public Enemy shirts, kid.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be able to like stick it to the man and fight off technology and just like do all this stuff. Which, like you said, I mean, depending, just going over everything that Sarah Connor went through, she's literally the only person in the world that knows what the future holds. Literally was visited by a time traveler and was hunted down by a rogue Terminator sent to kill her and killed so many people just to get to her all in one night. And she basically had to, and the fact that she was a single mom, which I mean, that alone is just crazy. It's like, it's kind of like, I kind of think of it as like one of those things where you're like, I don't want to, knowing how shitty the world is or the shitty things are going to be, I don't want to bring my child up in something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to bring my child into that world. But Sarah Connor is literally one of the few people in the world who has to bring her child into this kind of world simply because her child is going to be the savior of humanity.
You just
Which,
love to see it.
hey, it's one of those things where I'm just like, man, that's some ironic shit right there.
Uh-huh.
It's crazy. Anyway, um, the visual effects were groundbreaking for 1991, most notably the T-1000 scenes. But which scenes still impress you the most to this day?
I think it's all the vehicle stuff. It's
Oh yeah.
Arnold. It's Arnold going through like the California drainage ditch things with the semi truck.
Hmm.
It's the helicopter bridge scenes. It's all of the vehicle stuff where I'm just like, that's crazy
Yeah.
looking.
The final,
Now it would all just be a green screen.
yeah, all of it would be on some soundstage somewhere. But here we had, a stretch of road, and we just went after it, man. Back when we used to make things in this country. You love to see it. Anyway, let's see here. Let's see. What was the next question I had? Oh yeah, for me, the thing that stands out the most is most definitely the T1000 scenes. I don't think anybody is surprised that the T1000 is the most recognizable aspect of this movie, but one of the things that I hold kind of near and dear is the fact that wow, these effects really hold up because they're so simple. You know, back then it was hard to be able to pull off really awesome special effects that weren't layered, special effects that were CGI effects that weren't layered on top of something practical. And I always think of Jurassic Park, which came out, 2 years later, and that kind of became this thing where it was like, oh, we've got the dinosaurs, but it's a practical effect with CGI layer on top. When it came to the T1000, there's some elements that are practical effects, like whenever he's using his like arm pickaxe things, that's obviously that's real. But whenever he's melting or sliding through something, that's obviously the CGI effect. And I think it works really well just because it's liquid. It's really simple, not simple. Simple's the opposite word to use, but it's really easy for CGI back then to be able to just do liquid because of the way it moved, especially liquid metal. And I think that worked especially well just because it's something that is easy and fluid, I guess is the right word to use, to be able to uh, function properly. I think I lost Lincoln real quick. Let me see if I can get him back.
I'm still here.
Oh, you're here? Okay.
I was just letting you go on.
Oh, no, I thought I lost you for a second because I thought I said something to you and you didn't reply. And I was like, oh, okay, I think I lost. So I'm just going to vamp real quick.
I thought you were just vamping. I was like trying to cut in, but I was like, no, he's still going.
No, no, no. I didn't mean to domineer that. That was done completely by way of proxy. I did not mean to do
That's
that.
funny.
Anyway, next question that I had here. James Cameron is known for pushing technology, obviously the man behind Avatar. What moments in T2 do you think set new standards for action films?
When he walks through the bars.
Oh, like in the insane asylum?
Yeah, like that the him walking through the bars in the insane asylum still I think is one of the best visual effects ever. If we're talking about the action sequences, it's definitely whenever they're doing the car chase through the canal.
Yeah, I agree with
That's
that.
like that's like top tier. Like I don't think any other movie does a chase that well.
That's a really good car chase.
Hmm.
That's a really good scene, especially the way it's like directed with the T-800 firing his shotgun blast with and then cocking it one-handed. It's so iconic to me. Um, when I think of new standards for action films, God, that's so hard. Um, but I do think that it does so well because I think the new standard it sets is that it perfectly bridges the gap between the new age of technology that was coming up in the world and the old ways of doing action movies, the practical effects, the explosions, and then like this new modern sensibility of, like I mentioned earlier, like this blooming um, sense of family and more philosophical ideas, and then the CGI effects. I think there's just so much that kind of like blends together for this movie to be able to kind of supersede a lot of other action movies that were going on at the time, or at least be able to kind of pave the way for new action movies in the 90s to kind of like come across and be like, hey, we're going to do things a little different here. And I always think about movies like Speed. Speed, for some reason, really comes to mind as like one of those newer action movies in the 90s that kind of wouldn't be where it is without the innovations of T2. Uh, But that kind of mentality kind of leads into the next question of how do the practical effects in this movie compare to today's CGI heavy blockbusters? Because this movie is very, it's got CGI in it, it's very sparing on it, relies heavily on practical effects, and some damn good practical effects. But how does it compare whenever you're looking at something like, I don't know, the new, the latest Avengers movie or the latest action heavy CGI heavy blockbuster like a Transformers movie or something like that?
Compared to movies that come out nowadays, this one rips their ass. Like it's crazy. Like every time I watch it, I'm like, it's Terminator 2, it's a classic, whatever. And then like the scenes will happen and I'm like, oh yeah, this movie fucking rules.
This movie
Why don't we
rips.
do this shit anymore?
Yeah,
It's like there's no way that it's like more cost effective to not just do it for real than it is to be like, all right, let's spend $10 billion doing this on a computer.
exactly.
And it just
Yeah,
doesn't look as good. Like I get if we're doing space battles and stuff, obviously, let's use CGI,
sure.
whatever. If we're doing action scenes, how is it not like how is it better to be like let's fake it. Let's make it look like a video game.
Yeah, I don't know. Especially when you consider that it just looks cooler when something really explodes or when something is really getting shot with squibs or just something like that. Like I always think about
Like the
that once
liquid metal squibs.
metal squibs. I always think about that one scene in the movie where they're at that scientist's house. I forget his name. Um, and they're at his house, and all three of them are trying to convince him that the future is bad, all this stuff, bad stuff's going to happen in the future, and to convince him, they just look at the T-800 and they're like, "All right, show him," and then he slices his arm, and then he rips off his fake human hand and shows
It
his
looks
like
incredible.
that effect of just like showing what that looks like. I mean, that just to me, I always think about that when I think of this movie's practical effects because I'm like, that effect still holds up to this day. It
And
looks
it's
so
just a
good.
fucking puppet.
Yeah.
How how not expensive is a goddamn puppet
It's
compared
so compared
compared to
to
hiring a computer engineer to develop software to then develop to then create such software to create a 3D model to do like how what the fuck are we doing? With this we used to make things in this country.
we really did. We really used to. So silly, so stupid. But I mean, yeah, this movie's effects just slap altogether. I think it's rare to find a movie that comes out nowadays that can say, "Oh man, my effects are just as good as this movie." I mean, there's plenty of great examples, I'm sure, with great practical effects, but you can't. It's hard to compete. It's hard to compete with one of the classics.
This isn't the same.
Yeah. Now, let's get into some characters and performances. Arnold's shift from villain to hero is a huge move. Do you think it worked?
Yeah, I think Arnold's way better at being a comedian than a serious actor.
Yeah.
So, though his performance in Terminator 1 works really well, what are you making faces for, you pussy fart?
Don't acknowledge it. I got it to where you can't actually see my screen.
Oh, okay, that's
So
so funny. So I'm just seeing you react. How funny. That's really funny. I
you're
think
welcome.
what I was gonna say is that while Arnold's performance in Terminator 1 does hold up, like it is a good performance, a serious performance, I think it is hysterical of Arnold playing it completely straight and being like, so I say hasta la vista, and then you say it, and then we're friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says it just like that too.
I know, and it's just hysterical where he's just like they're just doing all like then you so then you don't kill the bad guys and he's just like shoots him in the leg. He's like he'll live.
Yeah, that's so
Like,
much more
that's
funny.
so funny.
I think and that's not to say that in the first Terminator movie Arnold didn't have some bangers.
No, he's
Um,
great, but
like
but the comedy in this one is like
killer. Yeah.
they know it. They know that it's going to be funny this time.
Yeah.
The last time they were like, "No, it's scary," and it is for all intensive purposes, but it's also kind of funny.
Yeah, and plus this isn't Arnold. This was like, this is what is
This is
this?
peak.
7 years later. That was 1984, 1983 for the first Terminator movie. We didn't know, Arnold. We didn't know a whole lot about Arnold. He was in Conan, and he was fine there, I guess. But
He was hamming it up.
he was hamming it up. But I mean, he didn't have. He's evolved by the point he gets in 1991 as a leading man, and it's just so much more. He's coming to his own more. He's done things like Total Recall, Predator. He's done all these things. Raw Deal.
Hang around.
Yeah, he's done all these things that helped him become the leading man he is by the time you get to 1991. And I think it's just important to say that um, it worked because because James Cameron, he knew Arnold. He worked closely with Arnold. He knew how to direct him. He knew what to what situations to put him in. And Arnold having this kind of like meta sense of humor about himself is like, I can be subtly goofy. Is probably the right way to say it.
I could play it straight, and that's why it's funny.
Yes, which helps thanks to um, the dichotomy in the relationship he shares with Edward Furlong's John Connor. So, which without that child to bounce off of, we wouldn't have the same level of humor that we have. It's a really good combination of the two actors.
And because of that, it leads to the really awesome sentimental thumbs up ending.
Yes, yes, just
Because of all
very
that
well done.
comedy, because of all that comedy and character development, then it really matters whenever it's you're just like, why does he give him a thumbs up if we didn't have all of that lead up to it?
Yeah, and it really helps. Like the movie does a really good job of developing their relationship, um, humanizing the Terminator, and in many ways, like I've always been fascinated by this idea that because the Terminator is a learning machine, that it's constantly evolving based on the stimuli it receives from its environment, that as time goes on, is it able to actually form bonds? Something that I think a future movie later down the line kind of explores. I forget which one it is, like Terminator. It's the Terminator that came out after Terminator Genesis, I think. Uh, and that's like,
Dark Fate.
I think so. It's whatever one sets up where the Terminator actually has like a family in the
I don't
future.
even know what you're talking about.
Who cares? It's not important. It's not relevant to this discussion. I'm just saying it kind of is insofar as it's something that we were able to determine about the Terminator as being a higher intelligence emotionally. Because it's a machine, can it develop emotional bonds simply based on the programming that it has, considering that it's a piece of machinery that can adapt as time goes on. You know, does developing an emotional bond equate to an adaptation of sorts? Which I just think is something interesting to kind of ponder on.
The machines are getting smarter.
Machines are getting smarter. Oh my god, it's too deep.
It's too
Um,
deep.
anyway, how do you view Linda Hamilton's performance as Sarah Connor? Is it just as iconic as the original performance she had T1, or do you think it's kind of like coming to its own?
I think this is the one that people talk about more than the one performance, or the performance in one rather.
Yeah. Why is that?
I
Do you
think
think?
most people are. I just think most people are like, this is the iconic. Like this is Sarah Connor for most people.
Yeah.
They're not. They don't really think of her as the 18-year-old waitress who's scared for most of the first one and has to pull together at the end of the first one. They're just like, no, Sarah Connor's the one that's like doing push-ups and uses broom handles to almost kill people.
Yeah. Like whenever, it's kind of like whenever people are like you see a guy and he's holding like a really big gun, he's like shooting it off. You're like, all right, Rambo. It's like if it was a female, they'd be like, all right, Sarah Connor. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like it's kind of that vibe.
And like the her like her seeing the explosion going off.
Oh yeah, like the hypothetical she sees.
Yeah, like where like that effect is also crazy. I forgot to mention that earlier. Where
That's a good one.
there's the nuke goes off and she's looking at the playground and everybody's not listening to her to run.
Yeah, that's a good one. Um, yeah, I agree. I think her performance here is just like it's one thing to have a performance where you're just like in the first movie, not to discredit her performance in the first movie, but I feel like it's really easy to just be like scared and kind of wimpish throughout the movie, and then at the end of that movie is when she kind of has like her big moment where she's like, you know what, fuck you, I am Sarah Connor. Let's move our ass, soldier, and just like
Yeah,
all
get
that
on your
stuff.
feet.
And but in this movie, she's that the entire time, and I feel like, and while she's that, she also has to kind of have this tortured soul mentality where she realizes she had, especially in that hypothetical scene where everything blows up, you kind of get a glimpse of everything that she wanted to have for her son, she couldn't have because of the role that they play in the grand scheme of humanity.
And the looming threat of Judgment Day.
Exactly. So she has to play this kind of tragic sadness to her while she plays up as this hard ass um, battle born soldier, which is kind of fucked up. She does a really good job. Linda Hamilton does a really good job with this role. It's her role that she made her own, and I can't ever. People have tried, but nobody plays Sarah Connor the way she does.
It's almost like through the Terminator she found her salvation.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like she did all this at its genesis. That was pretty good timing.
Yeah, I tried. I was
That
gonna
was,
do it for mine, and then I
I
was like, oh wait, he's doing a bit too.
yeah, it worked. Anyway, what do you think of Edward Furlong as John Connor? Do you believe him as a just a regular '90s kid, or is he believable as a future leader?
It goes back and forth in certain scenes. Like when he's with the other kid, I'm like, God, this kid sucks. But
This is just
any
a
of the
dumb kid.
scenes, this is just a dumb kid. And then like some of the other scenes when he's interacting with other adults, you're just kind of like, ah, kind of patchy here and there.
Yeah,
But any of the him and Arnold scenes, they just still work.
yeah,
There's
true. I
something
think that's
about,
that's his strongest moments is when he's working off of Arnold.
and it's just so wonderful because it could be like any movie where a kid finds like X, Y, and Z. Like kid finds ET, kid finds robot,
Yeah,
like all of those scenes work in that regard so well that you're just like, oh, like then when the serious action scenes happen and there's peril, you're just like, ah, I'm so invested in everybody's relationship with each other.
yeah, no, it works really well. And um, I would just like to say, it's fascinating how Edward Furlong kind of like went on to kind of not necessarily squander his potential as a future of this franchise. Um, but considering what kind of performance he was able to put on screen here, I'm surprised that things just didn't work out the way they should have.
You're telling me Christian Bale wasn't good enough for you?
No, I don't think Christian
He's
Bale. I didn't
bad.
think
He's
he's.
pretty bad.
I didn't think he was a very good John Connor, and you could kind of tell he really didn't want to do that movie anyway.
I mean, have you ever heard the video of him yelling at the lighting guy?
Yeah, but to be fair, in Christian Bale's defense, that lighting guy was kind of fucking things up,
Hey, I've also heard other actors say the same thing about any project that he's worked on
which
with the
I'm
lighting.
sure is the case.
I'm sure there's something to be said, but I just think it's always funny to bring it up that it was on Terminator Salvation.
Yeah. Oh, they have all fucking movies. It had to be
Yeah,
Terminator
just
Salvation.
I'm a serious actor. Dude, you're in Terminator 4.
Yeah, dude, you were Batman.
Yeah,
Shut the fuck up.
that's so funny.
Anyway,
Oh,
speaking of characters and speaking of performances, we have to talk about probably the most iconic character from this movie, and that is Robert Patrick's T-1000, and what
it's
makes
the
him
scariest
such,
dude.
yeah, what makes him such an effective villain, do you think?
I think it's because he hardly says anything.
Right.
There's a few scenes where he's doing the whole, oh, I'm just an officer doing my duty, like I'm like doing the full covert ops thing, but a lot of times he's just like murdering people and taking their form.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's terrifying about him, is that he can be anybody and he can turn into any kind of weapon that he wants within reason.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's kind of, I think that's just one of the biggest strengths about the character is the way Robert Patrick plays him is, one of the things about the Terminator that makes them so scary as a concept is that their goal is to be this killer machine that can blend in with a crowd and kind of sneak behind enemy lines. And I think the T-1000 up to this point is the most capable of doing so. And that to me is just extra terrifying because this guy comes off as more human. I think that's one of the detriments to the T-800 is that the T-800 can't adapt the same way that the T-1000 can. The T-1000 is adaptation at its peak, at its pinnacle, and it's able to, you know, do all these crazy things like with the weapons and all that stuff. But the fact that it's able to hold a conversation in such a way, it's able to manipulate people in such a way, I think is just so much more iconic to it than the weapons that it makes or the fact that it becomes liquid metal. I think the fact that it's able to sneak around the way it is just wholly unique to that character and something that it has a leg up on when it comes to Arnold's character because the T-1000 can take the form of just about anything. Except, and the T-800 is limited to its giant fucking bodybuilder form, which kind of sticks out like a sore thumb.
And it's very distinct Austrian accent.
Yeah, it's very non-conspicuous, or it's very conspicuous Austrian accent.
I'll be back.
The guy's like, "All right, you fucking weirdo."
Yeah, that's strange. I hope he doesn't drive a car through this police station.
Oh, excuse me.
No,
God bless.
no.
Also, isn't it crazy to think that this movie kind of had like we talked about this with the first Terminator movie, but I think this movie also kind of gets into more where it talks about the relationship between humanity and machines and AI, and when you put that against the backdrop of like modern day, where we're so ingratiated into this tech landscape of everything's AI, everything's about these robots, everything's kind of evolving at like this hyper rate.
We have actual self-driving cars and taxis in certain states.
Yeah, eventually we're gonna have Terminators.
I know, it's just where we're going. We're just giving it to them. There's there's at least 7 Terminator movies and all kinds of off-brand AI movies that are telling us for the last 30, 40 years, 50 years. This is a bad idea.
This
And
is
we're
definitely
just
bad.
walking towards it, open-handed,
Willy
white flag.
nilly.
We didn't learn anything.
Nah. According to, I think it was this movie. This movie told us when Judgment Day happens, right? It was supposed to be last year, right?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, because
so.
in the first one it's like 2017.
And then they were like, no, 2024 or something like
Uh,
that. Because I thought in Terminator 1 they said 2024, like in exactly. No, because in the first movie they said when Skynet launches, and then the war that Kyle Reese is from. Skynet launched, and then in 2024, I forget the timeline. I'm not gonna get into it. I forget the timeline. I didn't do my rewatch for this movie, so I
in
forget
the
all that.
original Terminator franchise, Judgment Day occurs in on 97.
Okay, and then in Terminator 2, does it change?
Hold on, I'm looking.
Fascinating. We'll find out shortly, ladies and gentlemen. Should I just pause until you figure it out, or should we move on?
Yeah, it just kind of says that it happens in yeah, and then in oh, and then okay, so then in Terminator 3 they say that Judgment Day starts in 2003.
Okay,
So it does kind of just change around depending on which movie you're in.
interesting. I wonder what that is.
It's just because they kept going past the dates that they said.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Because
Anywho,
they were just like, oh fuck, it's closer than we thought.
oh jeez.
Oh
Yeah,
geez, Rick.
kind of running into like one of those paradoxes where it's like, if we say that the future is going to something bad in the future is going to take place now, it's kind of like how back in like the 80s and 90s, we always thought the 2020s was like this crazy futuristic time period to be in, which it kind of is, but it's not like
Okay,
flying cars, teleportation, shit like that, self-tying laces.
so the parts in Terminator 1 that we see take place in 2029.
Oh, okay. So we're still a few years
That's
away.
when Kyle Reese. That's when Kyle Reese is in the Future Wars in 2029. For some reason, I thought it was 2019 at that scene.
I thought it was 2024 for some reason. I thought it was.
Yes.
I mean, I was on the money that it was 2020 something, but I'm a few years off.
Yeah.
That's okay. Um, so that being said, is the ending of this movie optimistic or tragic in your point of view?
I think with just the first one and the second one at this point, I think this at this point it's pretty optimistic
Yeah, I think it.
without knowing where the franchise was going.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Pretty simple. Considering that there's, I don't know if there was talks that they were going to do a sequel after this, um, but it makes sense that they were kind of like, let's just end on a good note. So, why do you
Let's just
think
do it.
why do you think T2 is still considered one of the greatest sequels ever made?
I think it's just because similar to like Empire Strikes Back or Godfather 2 or some of the other famous sequels that it's just everything that they did right the first time but like turned up to 12 and
Yeah,
with way more money behind it.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of like Aliens, where it's kind of like they followed the principle of, well, what was something that worked in the first movie? The Terminator was a good idea. What if we had more Terminator?
And what if there were two of them
Exactly. What if we took
just
the
getting
amount
out
of
of hand?
what if we took the amount of Terminator we had and doubled
It doubled.
it? And
And
doubled
what if there was way more action?
it. Yeah,
And what if we had way more money this time?
yeah. It kind of just makes sense. It kind of gives you everything you kind of want to see. You want to see John Connor. You want to see Sarah Connor again. You want to see Arnold back again. But they give you things in such a unique way. Arnold's back, but he's not the bad guy anymore. We got this new Terminator that's even more advanced than the old Terminator. And it just looks really cool.
Ugh.
Which kind of leads me to the next question of, if it were released today, do you think it would have the same cultural impact? Like, if the original Terminator came out in 1984, and by some means there was never another Terminator sequel until 2025, where they dropped this exact movie in the exact form it came out in 1991, came out today.
We're just how it's supposed to be.
Do you think it would still have the same cultural impact?
If this hadn't come out in the first place,
Like, if this movie had been made and then it was fucking lost to time, nobody ever saw this movie come out, and then it was discovered in James Cameron's backyard in a time capsule, and it was released to the public, do you think this movie would have the same cultural impact it does?
I would like to say yes, but I have no idea if all the iPad babies would love it or not.
Hard to say. Hard to say. It's hard to say because I feel like, well, it's hard to say because there's the time period the movie was made in. That's kind of a time capsule, the '90s. I think we're in the middle of like hardcore '90s nostalgia right now. Um, like, we were in hardcore and '80s nostalgia for a really long time, and then I think we kind of transitioned into '90s nostalgia. I think we're in that phase right now where we're just like, or it's either '90s nostalgia or early 2000s nostalgia. And this movie is like very obviously something that was made in the '90s. Um, it's got, and like I said, I think it kind of encapsulates a lot of things that make popular superhero movies um, popular. It's got the humor, it's got the action, it's got the acting, it's got everything that kind of like embodies everything. And plus, you look at something like, this is a bad example, but it's October, so it's something I think about. Um, you have Halloween 2018 that kind of came out years ago, and that movie was a direct sequel to the original Halloween movie, and it had a pretty significant cultural impact. Not to say anything about Halloween Kills or Halloween Ends, but I kind of view that movie as like this standard of, what if we take a movie from 40 years ago, and we say, let's make a movie about it now. So, kind of just something to think about. I don't know. I don't know if you agree with that or what.
No, I do.
Okay.
I think there is a lot of that right now, but I don't think that they could quite nail it if they did try to make something like this now. But I think it would, for the most part, hold up to people watching it at home and whatnot, or if it got re-released in theaters.
Like, if you were a fan of the original Terminator, like, if because the original Terminator is an iconic classic. Nobody's gonna take that from that movie. And people watch it nowadays, and people still rewatch it, and people show it to their kids, and everybody just kind of remembers the Terminator. And then all of a sudden, Terminator 2 hits theaters in 2025, and it's this movie, and you watch it. I think it's gonna hit big.
It's gonna hit big.
Yeah, I think it would hit big.
Well, I love it then.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
If you could ask James Cameron one question about Terminator 2, what would it be?
Just what? Just why can't what? Just I don't know. It would be some. I was gonna say why can't all movies be like this all the time? But I imagine that's like not a real question that he could answer.
He would be like, I don't know, man. What do you want me to say? I would have been like, so when are you starting True Lies 2?
Oh, shut up.
It has to be for Terminator 2. It's fine. Kind of a loaded question. I mean, I feel like everything that you could ask James Cameron about this movie, he has already answered at some point or another in any documentary or behind the scenes or DVD commentary type deal. So, not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
Which T2 quote do you find the most memorable?
Hasta la vista, baby.
I was gonna say it's got to be Hasta la Vista, baby. I don't think you can come close. I mean, I think that one quote you mentioned earlier, where he like shoots the guy in the leg and he's like, "He'll live." That's a pretty good line.
Yeah,
That's a pretty good line. Or "It's in your nature to destroy yourselves." Pretty good one. But I think you can't be Hasta la Vista, baby.
I mean, that's people said that all the time,
Yeah.
everywhere.
That became a household saying because of this movie. All right, let's see here. If you were casting a modern remake, oh boy, here we go, remakes. Let's okay. So imagine they already did the. Uh, so again, talking about Halloween for some reason. So Rob Zombie did the first Halloween remake, and then he did a sequel to that remake. If somebody came along and did a remake of the first Terminator, and then they were hired to do a sequel to that remake, so a remake sequel of this movie, who would
Uh-huh.
who would you pick to be the T-800?
It'd have to be somebody funny like Channing Tatum or something.
No, it's gotta be. I mean, sure, it could be somebody funny, but they gotta be like physically imposing too.
Channing Tatum can get pretty big.
I'm gonna
We've
say
seen him be muscle bound.
I'm gonna say John Cena.
Let's say Batista then.
Hey, I wouldn't be so mad about that. I just for some reason I think of like WWE superstar whenever I think of somebody that has to play T-800.
Yeah.
I don't want to say Dwayne Johnson though.
Brock Lesnar.
Oh my god, dude. I don't know if he could act, but
Imagine him just opening the door and being like, "Come with me if you want to live."
yeah. Ooh, Henry Cavill.
Be cool. He's huge.
He's huge. Yeah, it could work. He's about the same height as Arnold. He's like 6'1". Arnold's like 6'2", so I think it would work.
I think it
Ooh,
could work.
yeah, or pick somebody that's like notorious. Maybe they don't even have to be like muscular, huge. They could just be like really tall, like Ken Kersinger.
Who's
Somebody.
that?
He's the guy that played Jason in Freddy vs. Jason.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know, somebody like that. Hard to say. Either
Tim
way,
Robbins is tall as fuck.
it's true. It's true. Um, so final question here. What scene would you most want to see on the big screen in 4K IMAX? And can I guess what yours is gonna be?
What's that?
It's got to be the canal scene again.
It has to be.
It has to
Just
be.
hearing that with all the speakers and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be pretty good. That would be nice. I agree with that take. So, final thoughts and opinions on Terminator 2?
Final thoughts? Final thoughts.
Final
There are no
thoughts?
final thoughts. It's
Oh,
inevitable, Garrett. Judgment Day is
no.
coming for all of us.
Here we go.
No, I'm just kidding. It's a banger. I was mad when the credits rolled. I just wanted it to keep going, but I knew that any story that happens afterwards is garbage. It's just a masterpiece. It doesn't get any better than this.
Do you still prefer the first one over this one?
Yeah, but that's just a personal thing. This movie just sets the bar so high for what a movie can be. And
Yeah.
the first one is more like a low budget like horror version of that movie we just watched.
So, do you think then? So, would you say that the sequel is much more of a technically sound product over the first movie? Like, if you had to
Oh
pick,
yeah,
like, what's just the better movie? Is T2 just the better movie?
it's just a better movie.
But your personal preference is T1.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm kind of in the same boat. I really enjoy a lot of things about T1, T2. I enjoy a lot of things about it. I think I kind of enjoy them equally, but that's only insofar as I recognize that they're two sides of the same coin. That's just me, though.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that.
So that being said, that is the end of our discussion on Terminator 2. If you want to stick around for what our remaining discussions are going to be on, it's just going to be small bits on things, hopefully not super long. But you said you had some things you wanted to discuss this go around.
I'm sorry, you cut out for a second.
Oh, okay. I said there was
I
some
was like, oh, I hope he keeps talking.
there. You said there were some things you wanted to talk about this go around.
Oh yes, our favorite villains
Ah, yes. Are we talking? We're talking exclusively action movies, right?
that are movies that we have covered on the show.
Okay, so strictly movies we've covered, which is thankfully is a lot.
Yeah,
we,
we have
we've
some options.
we've done a lot by this point, so I'm fine with that. Um, so best action movie villains that we've covered on the show so far. We'll just kind of like shoot them out. We don't have to like rank them or anything like that because we don't have anything prepared for that. But yeah, I think I want to kick the discussion off since we're talking about the Terminator. Can you get any better than Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator from Terminator 1?
So funny.
I mean, you've got
You
the
just
T 1000, sure, but I don't think you can get more iconic than
then the Terminator.
the Terminator from Terminator 1. I think that's a hard pill.
It's a hard pill.
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't think it gets any more iconic than Darth Vader.
I was gonna say Darth Vader next. Darth Vader is gonna be my number two.
That's so funny.
Because I mean, yes, there's Darth Vader, but if we're just going off of New Hope, he's got iconic imagery, but he's got one iconic scene in that whole movie. That's when he chokes out that one admiral or whoever that was during their like war meeting. And after that
And when he
scene,
holds up the little rebel guy in the beginning, he walks in right after the credits at the beginning. Come on, guy.
look, I'm not trying to say
When he's in the trenches
I'm not
flying spaceship. Come on.
I'm just saying, when you're comparing the Terminator to
When
Darth Vader,
he fights Obi-Wan with lightsabers. Come on.
when you're talking about the Terminator versus Darth Vader, I gotta go Terminator. I gotta go Terminator,
Dude,
Doug.
are you fucking retarded? He's got the force, you idiot.
You fool!
You
Oh my
absolute
god.
dummy.
Nah, I hear what you're saying. I respect it. I just don't agree with it.
I think you're I think you are made of buckets of bolts. Do you know how many droids Anakin Skywalker
Oh my
killed?
god, here we go. We're not talking about Anakin Skywalker. We're not
He's the
talking.
same guy. We're
We're not
I
talking
know you haven't
about.
got that far.
Oh
Hey, I know you
fuck
haven't
this
got that far
guy.
in the Clone Wars.
This fucking
I know
guy.
you haven't got that far in the Clone Wars, but spoiler alert, they're the
Anakin.
same guy.
Wow. Are you serious? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know. Oh my god, I didn't know that. I've never read a fucking YouTube video before. Jesus
I
Christ.
thought you were gonna say I've never seen any of the movies before.
Yeah. Anyway, so I mean, another iconic villain, the Predator.
I mean, come on, he'd kill both of them.
Yeah. Yeah. You've got so far we've got the Terminator, Darth Vader, the Predator, which I think is just like one of the most iconic characters in science fiction, period, and action movies. I'm gonna go but now because those are all kind of like you know out there science fictiony type characters. I'm gonna go with Hans Gruber from Die Hard.
Hey man, why are you messing up the order here?
What
It's
order?
my
Oh, here we
my
go.
turn. We're going back and forth, my guy, because I was gonna say Hans Gruber. You just went Predator Hans Gruber. How dare you?
I had to scoop up those picks.
No, you don't get to just back-to-back picks here, my guy. What is this? What are we doing here?
So go ahead. No, you're right. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. You can have two back-to-back, because then I'm gonna go ahead and go Alien Queen, and
Good one.
then I'm gonna do The Mummy. Pussy fart.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. No, I didn't think. I forgot we had done the Mummy. So we've got Darth Vader, Terminator, Predator, Hans Gruber, the Mummy, Alien Queen. Six, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are all really good. I feel like it's hard to come up. Maybe Dennis Hopper from Speed.
For Speed.
I can't remember his name. Bodie from
Yeah, Bodie.
from Point Break. That's a pretty good one.
Leo from Django Unchained.
Can't yeah, Calvin Candy. That's a pretty good one. I feel like you can't break that top. I feel like that top. I feel like that top five is just really hard to break. I would leave the Mummy out of
It's hard.
the top five, but uh,
I mean,
that top five is
I
pretty
mean,
hard.
I'm also ship really, really hard for John Lithgow and Cliffhanger.
That's a good one too. He's basically a rip on Hans Gruber though.
He is, but he is just so good
It's
whenever he's
good.
just shooting people.
It is good. I'll give you that. It is
You want
good.
to see loyalty?
What's another good one? Because like I'd have to look at our set we've done. I know we've done a lot. I guess Megatron kind of comes to mind.
The Japanese general dude and an IP man.
That guy was really good. Yeah, the general from It Man. IP Man. It's It Man, you freak.
And I did it on purpose.
You see me.
Uh, the Bruce Banner's dad and Hulk.
Yeah.
Eh,
Yeah.
eh,
Michael Ironside and Total Recall.
eh.
Eh.
The scary
Ooh.
Nazi dude in Hellboy.
Clarence Boddicker from RoboCop. Wesley
That's pretty good.
Snipes from Demolition Man.
Eh,
Oh, come on.
Wesley Snipes not the real villain, and
But he becomes the real villain. He kills the guy that makes him become the villain.
that's true. I forgot because Demolition Man sucks.
Wow, here we go. I think that's about it. I think that's all the good bad guys we have covered. No, that's about it. See, this is an interesting
Uh,
discussion I had with somebody the other day. Do you consider the sheriff in First Blood a villain, or is he just an antagonist?
nah, he's kind of the villain.
I don't know though. I don't consider him a villain because he's not a villainous character. He's not doing the things he's doing to be evil. He's just
I
a
think that
dickhead.
I think the start of the confrontation is kind of evil.
I don't know, man. I kind of I'm on the fence about that one. But our top five,
Oh, you just want them to drive people out of towns.
yeah, fuck me, I guess. Yeah. Top five action movie bad guys: Alien Queen, Predator, Hans Gruber, Darth Vader, Terminator. Boom. There it is.
Boom.
There it is. All right.
Love
So getting on to the next bit we had. That was a nice little 5-6 minute right there. It's gonna be a good video.
it. 6 minute.
Shimmy. So the next one we have is you said you wanted to do a bit going over our favorite horror movies of the 2020s.
Yes.
Okay, I'll let you kick it off.
Uh, so number one, I had Barbarian in no order. This is just the
No
first
order,
movie I had.
no. I agree though,
Uh,
Barbarian.
what you got?
So I also had Barbarian 2022, but I wanted to throw in this movie that I'd seen recently called When Evil Lurks 2023.
Interesting.
Pretty good movie.
Pretty good.
Highly recommended.
I also had Black Phone on here.
Okay.
The second one is in theaters right now, but I don't know if it's going to be any good or not. But I really enjoy this first one. Directed by the same guy who made the Sinister movie.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just real good. Kind of funny, but real dark at the same time.
Yeah, I gotta check it out, but it's on Peacock and I don't have Peacock.
Isn't Peacock free, you cheap bastard?
No, not for a lot of movies. For movies, you have to have a
Interest,
subscription for it. It's on Fandango.
interesting.
It's on Fandango at home though, but I don't know what that means.
Fandango.
Fandango. Anyway, um, my next pick is gonna be. You might hate this or you might love this. Terrifier 2
Ugh,
from 2022.
gross.
I haven't seen the third one yet, but I really enjoy the Terrifier series. So call me crazy.
Overrated.
I know some people hate it. Some people think it's overrated. Some people think it's just gore for the sake of gore. I love it.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
I had the Evil Dead Rise from 2023.
Oh, that was so fun. We went and saw that in theaters together.
It was a good time.
That was a fun time. I can't wait to do it with the next one.
Are they making more?
I think it's called Evil Dead Burns,
That's
if I remember correctly. Is that funny?
just it just doesn't quite roll off the tongue.
Eh, eh.
Eh,
Oh well.
eh.
It doesn't really bother me. But I'll have fun with that one when we go see it in theaters. My next one is, oh man, I should have said this one first. This is my favorite horror movie of the 2020s. Late Night with the Devil.
Ah, big one.
Big one.
I
Huge,
didn't have that on the list, but that one is it should have been.
huge one. Highly recommended.
So great. I have Nope.
Oh,
Jordan
really?
Peele's Jordan Peele's Nope. Loved it a lot.
Okay. Hey, you're allowed to love what you want.
Hey, you have the Terrifier on your list.
True.
I
True.
have real films.
You have movies. We'll say that. We'll say that. I'll agree with that. Um, oh, this is a good one from 2020. The Invisible Man.
Yeah, that was one of the last movies I saw in theaters before COVID started.
Okay. Yeah, I saw this
I
one.
distinctly remember it.
Yeah, I saw this one on Hulu, I think, and it was a good time. It was really, really well done. Very good. I'm
Good stuff.
surprised there's one more that I'm surprised hasn't been said yet.
One more.
One that you recommended to me.
Is it Weapons?
No, but I haven't seen
No,
Weapons
that's not
yet.
what it was gonna be. It's not what it was. It's gonna be Talk to Me.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Kudos. He got it.
No, I
Fucking gold
did get it
star.
because that's what I had on my list. I was gonna say Weapons instead of Barbarian, but then I was like, but I've seen Barbarian like 12 times already.
True. True. Um, yeah, Talk to Me was really good. I enjoyed that. I've got two more that I feel like mentioning.
Yeah, I have two more as well.
Uh, well, I have an honorable mention, which I'll just go ahead and list. The modern day Scream movies.
Yeah, I haven't seen the newest one, but I really like 6
Six is the newest one.
and 5.
Five. Five. Six is where they're in New York.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, but I
Okay.
saw the one before it that has Jenna
Scream.
Ortega.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's just
It's
Scream.
it's just Scream, but it's basically Scream 5. So
That's where I get confused because I was
yeah,
like, they don't have numbers anymore.
I hate that. And what's funny is like they called the next movie Scream 6. So
So there's no
there's
reason. It's
there's
not
just
Halloween 2018.
no. It's stupid. Go ahead with your next one.
One of my honorable mentions was going to be Heretic.
Oh yeah, was that good? I think you
Oh,
told me
I
about
really,
that.
really, really, really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Another movie that you're gonna need to need to watch. You need to get HBO. You absolute sycophant.
I had it, but then my friend, uh, HBO did that. It was my friend's HBO Max, and then HBO Max did that thing that Netflix did, where you can't share it when you're not on the same network. So
It's crazy. I guess you're just gonna have to get your own HBO.
yeah, let me just go ahead and check with the economy and see if I can afford that. Um, my next one is another honorable mention. I wanted to mention the X trilogy. So
Eh, hit or
Pearl,
miss.
Pearl, and Maxine, which I think is the most hit or miss one.
Yeah,
Um,
Maxine's the one where I was like, were these movies good? Like after you see the third one, you look back at the other ones, you're like, wait a minute.
you're like, don't see the picture here, but I liked
Mm,
X and I liked Pearl, so I think it gets a pass.
it's the pass.
Yeah. And then you had one more.
And then I was gonna say the American remake of Speak No Evil.
Oh, with James McAvoy.
The McAvoy,
Yeah, haven't seen that
because
one.
the original Speak No Evil has a really dark, bleak "fuck you" ending, and the American one still kind of does, but it's different, and I enjoy it more.
Okay, I'll
But
have
it's
to check
like
it out.
almost shot for shot the same movie, but they changed the ending a little bit.
Yeah, I have to check it out. It looks good.
It's fun. It's a fun time.
And James McAvoy is a fucking unit in that movie. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, it's literally like he got off the set from being in those Shyamalan movies
Yeah.
where he's playing the Beast or whatever. It's like he got off set from those and was just like, yeah, so I'm just gonna put a wig and some beard on.
Hmm.
That's it. All
Yep.
right.
And then my last one that I wanted to mention is Smile and Smile 2.
I
Smile
like the
series.
second one so much more.
I see people keep saying that, and I don't get it. Like the sequel is really good, but the that doesn't
I
mean
just
that
don't care about the first one.
the first one wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I just thought I think it was because the first one came out, there were so many other movies that were just like it at the time.
Okay. Like what?
Where
That's what I fucking thought.
hold on, you
I'm just
stupid
kidding.
asshole.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Son of a bitch.
Oh man, had to do it to him.
I had to do it to him. Well, I'm yawning. Fuck you. I, I not that there were so many movies like it, but like in 2022 alone, we had Barbarian, X, Nope, Talk to Me, Scream Six, Pearl. Like there was just so many other movies that were better than Smile
Yeah,
that I was just like smile, smile, smile. You know what I mean?
and then
But the
Smile 2
second
comes
one,
out.
yeah, the second one, I was like, okay, it's very similar to like what we were talking about with Terminator 2 just now. It's just the better parts of the first rendition, but with way more money.
Yeah, that's true. And I
And I
understand that argument, and I understand that, but basically to me, it's I look at it, and I'm like, this is the same movie just with a higher budget, and
yeah, and
then
that's the reason. And I think I just like the performance of the main character more in the second one.
which is fair, which is totally fair. I can agree with that. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for um, that bit. Thank you guys for watching, and make sure to check this out on YouTube. It goes up on YouTube next day. This whole podcast, along with these bits, and then the bits are gonna come out individually. You guys are gonna do them, and I'll make sure to um, invite you to collab because that's a new feature is that you can invite collaborators. So that's fun.
That is fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna start doing that from now on all our collaborations. So
I'm just gonna start inviting random big YouTubers on every video.
that'd be fun. They can
Just be like, see if they'll answer.
so they can see my analytics. That's nice.
Uh,
All right. Well, that's gonna be it from us. We'll check you guys later.
have a good one.